Hello and welcome to Enchantment of Eternity's top 5 best movie or TV trailers. In this video I will count down my opinion of my favorite trailers from film and television. And so this is really my opinion, and this countdown is really tailored to me specifically. But I wanna be clear, because I saw ones where WatchMojo.com did a top 10 movie trailers, and their system is voted upon their users. Like, there's not like a board of people who decided they get users to vote. And I thought that countdown was shit, personally, because most of the trailers on there were just of popular movies, a lot of comic book movies, like I think Dark Knight was number 1, and to me a lot of those trailers are just generic. It's basically people were just voting on the movies they really like. When they saw the trailer, they were excited to see the movie, which is not what I want to do, because I think some people look at trailers as just an advertisement for a movie, but I don't think it necessarily is that, or has to be that. I think there are some cases where I think the trailer in itself is a piece of art, where it's an art form, and not only did it entice me to watch the movie or show, it also, I believe, has artistic value in its own right. Pretty much every trailer on my list is a trailer I went back and watched multiple times, even after the show or movie came out. So it was no longer about enticing me to see this movie. It's about, I think this trailer is a piece of art in its own right that stands outside of the movie. Like, it stands on its own. And in some cases, I think that the trailer is better than the show or movie, and it's because of the way it's more concise. So that's what I'm looking at here, and so I'm gonna name stuff that's not very popular, or people are gonna think is a very sort of hipster of me or whatever. But I don't care. I wanted to examine trailers, and pretty much all of these trailers are trailers that I go back to and watch again and again and again, far after like the movie or show, because I just think they're so good and enticing, and basically a piece of art in its own right. Now, I was originally going to do a top 10, but I narrowed it down to a top 5, because I realized if I tried to do a top 10, I would do what WatchMojo.com did. I would just add movies and shows that I like and trailers that got me excited for the said show or movie, which is nothing wrong about that, because that's the trailer's job. But I wanted to focus more on the trailers that have their own standalone value that goes beyond simply enticing you to watch the show or movie, although it does that as well. But I really wanted to celebrate these trailers because I think they're underrated, and also I want to sort of get across my opinion that trailers can be more than simply an advertisement. Anyway, unfortunately, I will not include any clips from any of these trailers in this video, because YouTube has a habit of harassing me and coming down on me when I use clips, even though other channels seem to be able to get away with it. I can't. So what I will do, however, is I will put links in the description below to each of the trailers, so you can go on YouTube yourself and watch said trailer if you are so inclined. Anyways, so let me get into this. Let me start my top 5. But before I get into my top 5, let me start with the honorable mention, and that is the teaser trailer, I want to specify, for the film Strange Days. Now, this doesn't meet my criteria of top 5, because this is not a trailer I watch over and over and over again. In fact, I hadn't seen this in 30 years, or since the 90s, basically since it first came out. But it always stuck with me. It's something I always remembered seeing. So it's basically I don't know if you've ever seen or heard of the movie Strange Days, but I thought that movie was kind of average. It's a sci-fi film. It came out in 95 and it was taking place in 99, so the future 4 years later. But it's a sci-fi film about like this technology that and it's sold on the black market, that is kind of like a drug, but it's used to let you experience the events that someone else, like you can get someone else's memories like hardwired into your brain, and it's like you're actually experiencing what they experienced. And as I said, the movie was kind of okay. It was kind of average. It's not nothing I thought was spectacular, but I remember seeing the trailer for this film, and it's basically just Ray Fiennes like playing this hustler who's trying to sell you this technology. And I remember he's such a great actor, and I remember how enticing that was, and I remember, oh my god, this movie looks amazing, this is awesome. So it had me so hyped to see the movie, and then I went and saw it. I was like, it did not live up to the trailer. Like, but yeah, so I just wanted to mention this because I remember this being a really good, really effective kind of, and I do think it does stand in its own rights in some sense, even though it's just like Ray Fiennes and talking, but the way it's filmed, the way it's edited, how they go through close-ups, and the music involved is a bit outdated. You watch it now, it looks a bit cheesy, but from the 90s, it was really good. So I did have to mention that as my honorable mention. Now, and we'll get into my top 5 proper, and we'll start with my number 5, which is the trailer for season 4 of The Expanse. And now I know my bias is really, really showing, because The Expanse is one of my favorite shows. And I had considered trailers from others, because I did YouTube channel, for a while, where a trailer would come out for a show that I cover, where I would watch that trailer over and over again immediately, and then do a review on it and psychoanalyze it, and watch all these other YouTube videos of other people analyzing every single frame of every single trailer. And that's another thing I guess we can get into, the trailer culture of modern times, which I'm actually kind of against. I'm kind of against how, particularly when it comes to big budget movies and blockbusters, how people tend to focus more on the trailers than the actual movies themselves. But anyway, that's another topic. But for me, it was different with shows that I covered, because I was actually way more, like, you show me a trailer for the next Captain America movie, I was like, okay, whatever, it's a trailer. But some people go crazy over it, but me, I was like, whatever. But you show me a trailer for Game of Thrones season 4 while I'm desperately waiting for it to come out, I'm watching that thing like a billion times and analyzing every single frame to see if I can figure out what's going to happen in season 4 of Game of Thrones. Now, I did consider Game of Thrones trailers, but then I realized, like, I was only excited for them because, and only watching them a billion times, because they because I was so anticipating watching the season. I just wanted the season. I just wanted something to feed my hunger until the season came out. And once the season came out, then I promptly discarded the trailer, because it was no longer necessary. And that's true for a lot of these shows that I covered, but I found there was an exception with The Expanse season 4. And The Expanse, of course, one of my favorite shows, and I watched all the trailers of The Expanse, or at least starting with season 2. And but the season 4 one actually stuck with me, and that's actually one I did go back and watch multiple times, even after I saw season 4. And in some ways, I do think it's a little better in season 4, because season 4 of The Expanse it was okay. Like, it was a decent enough season. It's not my favorite. I think the book it's based off of is my least favorite book, but I think the show did a slightly better job with the actual season. But I think this is by far the best trailer The Expanse has ever done. I think it is better than any of those other Game of Thrones or other shows I watched trailers, because it really captures, like, the essence of the season without spoiling anything. And that's another thing. Like, there's other trailers that spoil. I could talk about the trailers that spoil the whole movie, and I think Titanic is the worst. Like, I didn't even need to watch the movie after seeing that trailer. I felt like I've already seen the movie, but that's another topic again. But anyway, so it really captures the essence of what season 4 is about and what happens in it without spoiling anything. And also, I do kind of think it's a piece of art in on itself. Like, it's the only trailer that I've seen that uses the theme song of The Expanse, and it really gets me emotional. Like, when even after I seen the season, I was no longer excited and anticipating the season. Going back and watching the trailer, it really affects me emotionally. Like, it's almost like watching a mini version of the season in 2 minutes. And where I still feel the range of emotion and the range of being affected by it. And it really, and as I said, in some ways, I think it's better than season 4. It has that more emotional impact. I mean, you have to judge it differently because it's a 2-minute trailer compared to 10 60-minute episodes. So the time frame is a bit different. But it affects me a lot more emotionally. It's more poignant, and I think it comes across very well. So this is the one trailer that represents all of the sort of TV trailers of shows that I regularly covered on this list. Anyway, now we'll get into my number 4 favorite trailer of all time, and that is Mother Night. Now, this is where I'm being really pretentious because I know nobody's heard of this movie, which I think is a shame. I think more people should have seen this movie and more people should have heard of it. But I've only met like 1 or 2 people in my lives who ever heard of this movie without me having to tell them about it. It's a movie that came out in 1996, starring Nick Nolte. I believe it was an independent Canadian film. It was based off a Kurt Vonnegut novel, so fans of Kurt Vonnegut probably watched it and heard of it. And it actually is coincidentally one of my favorite movies. I remember putting it on my list of favorite movies of all time. And the trailer is something I go back to. And in fact, I did a review for this movie on my channel, and I included the trailer in that review. And of course, I got demonetized because of it. Oh, Lord forbid I actually advertise their movie and try to get people to watch their movie for them. Oh, I'm trying to make them money. How evil of me. Anyway, I'm sorry. Anyway, so watching this trailer. So I first heard of this movie from seeing the trailer because I used to rent a lot of indie movies and stuff, and this was on some of the VHSs that I would rent. They would have this trailer, and I immediately was enticed by it. I immediately was, wow, I gotta see this movie. And looking back on this, I think this trailer is like brilliantly constructed. So if you've never heard of Mother Night, it's about an American who's living in Germany before the start of World War II, who was convinced by a government agent to become a spy. So he became this like propagandist radio talk show for the Nazis. But the whole time he was like an American spy. And I think in some ways the trailer is better than the movie because it doesn't reveal the fact that he's an American spy at first. Whereas you watch the movie, they show him becoming a spy before he becomes this propagandist. But the way the trailer starts is to have Nick Nolte spouting out like this vile, most disgusting, despicable anti-Jew Nazi propaganda. Like, it has a radio host and they show him in a full Nazi uniform, and it has this subtitles will pop up saying, this is just sort of reinforcing that this is really a despicable person and that he's very deceptive and he's lying and he's gross. And then the subtitles is saying, it comes up and the subtitles are going like while Nick Nolte is continuing to spew the most vile, disgusting hate speech. And then it goes, he's hiding a lie deeper than he would ever know. And then he says the Heil Hitler, and then the subtitles read, he was actually an American spy. And then they go boom, and they go right into this like intense trailer with like intense suspenseful music that shows every. And I was like, that was so hooked on that. That's what really sold me on the film, and I still, as I said, this is a trailer I still go back to over and over again and watch because it's just so intense and so effective, infective too. That I think this is absolutely brilliant, and just like the film, it's really underrated. But yeah, this is sort of my pretentiousness because I know no one's ever heard of it, and it's just me being me. But whatever, I still think I had to be true to myself, and I think objectively this is one of the best trailers. Anyway, let's go to my number 3 film on my list, or trailer, sorry, not film. Trailer on my list is actually not for a film, it's for a show. It's for the Netflix limited series Maniac. So this came out just a few years ago, and again, this is an underrated show. I covered this on my channel. I named it as my favorite show of the year when I do my top 10s, and I gave it a 10 out of 10. I love the show to death, and it seems like no one watched it. No one ever talks about it, which is a shame. They talk about other stuff on Netflix, which I think is way lesser, like that Bridgerton or whatever, that Queen bullshit. But anyway, it is kind of niche, to be fair. It does have a very quirky, tongue-in-cheek style to it. But I remember, and some people were just really thrown off, like, oh, this is weird. And some people had that impression from watching the trailer, but for me, like, I was instantly hooked, like, the moment I saw this trailer. And yeah, in some way, as much as I love this show, in some ways I think the trailer is a little better. And the trailer is something I keep going back to over and over again, even after I saw it. And it affects me, like, it gets me every time, like, it makes me really emotional. And like, because if you've never seen Maniac with the trailer, you should go watch the trailer. I got the link below. But if you've never seen Maniac, it's a very sort of mind-bendy, mind-twisty type of story, which are my favorite kind of stories, by the way. And how they have, and the way the trailer like intercuts all this weird, like, it starts very normal about the dude from The Leftovers trying to say, I'm gonna cure depression, and it has that little tongue-in-cheek like feel to it where it seems a bit off or whatever. But then they jump into sort of the main characters, Emma Stone and Jonah Hill's like depression and the problems with that, and then they jump straight into all the weird, bizarre shit that they go through in their imaginings about them being elves in the Lord of the Rings scenario, or gangsters, or like the Jonah Hill being like this giant, and then the city around him is tiny, like all that shit. And the way they intercut this beautiful music that really sells the emotional heart that is behind the show. And I dare say the trailer does a better job at selling the emotional heart than the actual show does. But I still love the show, keep that in mind. But yeah, amazing trailer. Anyway, number 2 on my list, and this is definitely a case of the trailer being better than the show, is for the Netflix show Love, Death, and Robots. I still watch this trailer all the time. And by the way, this is season 1. The season 2 trailer, I haven't actually watched season 2 yet as the recording of this video, but this trailer for season 2 was such a dud compared to this one. But I remember watching, you know how you turn on Netflix and they'll play a trailer automatically for whatever they want to promote. And I remember just turning on Netflix and seeing this trailer and just being completely blown away. And I immediately had to stop what I was doing and watch it because that trailer was so enticing. It's like so intense, uses like this techno music and have like this flashing imagery that really gets across the raw, gritty feel of the show that they're getting itself. Now, the show itself is an anthology series with a bunch of different animated shorts. Some of them I really like, some of them are kind of meh, some of them were trying too hard to be all gritty and on edge, which I didn't care for. But the trailer is just amazing. Like it has me, it gets me into that intense, gritty feel like immediately as soon as I watch it. And as I said, this is probably my most watched trailer. I still go back to it, and I'd rather watch this trailer than watch the show. It's such a good trailer. Anyway, now we'll get to my number one trailer on my list. I think this is the best trailer ever. When I watched that WatchMojo.com crap and they didn't have this on there, I'm like, people aren't actually saying what the best trailer is. They're just putting their favorite comic book movies on. That's bullshit. This is clearly the best trailer that was ever made. Ever, objectively. And that is Cloud Atlas. It's a 5-minute trailer. So it's almost like its own work of fiction, its own sort of art piece, its own short film. And I remember when I first saw this trailer being so blown away, like so incredibly blown away. I was like, I have to instantly watch this movie. But turns out I never went to the theaters in New Zealand, so I had to wait like a year before I could actually see the movie. In the meantime, I was watching the trailer over and over again. And again, I still watch the trailer over and over again to this day. And in some ways, I do think it's better than the movie. Now, I love the movie. Actually, this is another movie I consider one of my favorite movies of all time. But I don't think it's as good as the trailer. I think the trailer did a better job of really, because I love Cloud Atlas because it's such a beautifully edited film. But there are parts of it that are a bit silly. The accents are a bit off, and the makeup looks a bit horrible. And maybe it drags a little bit, and the flow doesn't flow as perfect as it could have. Whereas the trailer, the flow is beautiful. It is perfect. That combined with the music, and I cry every time I watch this trailer. Like, I watched this trailer just now before recording this video, and I was shedding tears. I can't watch this trailer, unless, of course, I watch a whole bunch of times in a row, then it loses, I get a bit numb to it. But other than that, I can't watch this trailer without shedding a few tears. It is that emotionally impactful. I like it better than a lot of movies. To be fair, I'd rather watch this trailer than watch some other random movie that's just average. And this is an amazing piece of art, in my opinion. And part of it, though, is it does speak to me personally, because I'm really into the whole sort of new agey, even though I'm not new agey, I'm an atheist, but I am into the whole new agey sort of everything's connected, everything, we're all connected. Even though this movie deals with reincarnation, which again is something I do not believe in, but I like the message behind it, the feel to it, that we're all connected and that everything has a purpose and a meaning. And the trailer does such an amazing job of getting this across by jumping between all the various storylines and different reincarnations of people, and really selling this emotional heart. And in fact, the subtitles that pop up towards the end of the trailer in fact say everything's connected, and it really, I think it's a piece of art in on itself, honestly. And in fact, the studio, of course, thought that they were crazy for making a 5-minute trailer. They're like, no one's going to sit and watch a 5-minute trailer. But of course, a lot of people did. And I went and I watched, read some of the comments on the YouTube trailer, for the trailer that's up on YouTube, and a lot of people were saying the same thing. A lot of people were saying this is clearly the best trailer ever made, and that the trailer's better than the movie. So I'm not the only one who feels this way. It seems like a lot of other people really connected to this trailer. And it uses this, I can't remember, I'd never looked up the name of the song, but it uses this song that's like so beautiful like towards the end, which this what brings me to tears when I'm watching it. And they tried to use the same song in that terrible finale of Mr. Robot, and I was so pissed. I'm like, come on, you're using the Cloud Atlas trailer song in your stupid finale with your stupid reveal. I was completely unmoved because I was like, because Cloud Atlas did it way better than what you're trying to do. Like, this is the Cloud Atlas song. It's so good. The trailer is so good. It's like, this trailer is like, I would put it up there with one of my favorite like television episodes or movies of all time, personally. Anyway, that is it for my top 5 film and television trailers. Thanks for watching me be really pretentious. and yeah, thanks so much for watching. Be sure to check out my channel as I cover many other shows, such as the aforementioned The Expanse, also Star Trek, Better Call Saul, and more. So be sure to subscribe so you can keep up with all of that. And thanks a lot for watching.